I'm Devontae.
Javier.
Jerome.
Tyrone.
Jashawn.
Peanut.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming out here on this cold, wintry day. My name is Tommy Smithis, and I'm a peer recovery coach at the Progress House, which is a men's residential recovery facility. Most of us think we know what addiction is. We think of it as a choice, a moral failure, or maybe a brain disease that someone is born with. People might ask, what is wrong with you? Why don't you just quit? What if we're asking the wrong questions? Instead of asking, why the addiction? Maybe we should be asking, why the pain? I have in front of me a copy of the DSM-5 and the big books of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I'm a 12-stepper, changed my views of the world significantly. According to the American Society of Addiction Medicine, addiction is primarily a brain disorder, but many experts, like Dr. Gabor Mate, argue that addiction is not the primary problem. It is an attempt to solve the problem with substances. Today I want to walk you through that process of how we lose ourselves and how recovering is literally finding the person that we used to be. To understand addiction, we have to look at childhood. Every human child has two fundamental survival needs. First is attachment. As mammals, we are the most helpless creatures on earth at birth. We cannot survive without a connection to someone who cares for us, feeds us, bathes us. Interestingly, our brains use endorphins, the body's natural version of heroin, to facilitate this bond. This is why when someone uses an opiate for the first time, they often describe it as a warm, soft hug. It's the feeling of love that may have been missing. The second need is authenticity. This is the ability to know what we feel and act on our gut instincts. In nature, if you don't listen to your gut, you just don't survive. But here's where the real tragedy is. What happens when a child's authenticity is threatened by their attachment? Imagine a 2-year-old getting angry. If their parents can't handle that anger, the child receives a silent message. If you are yourself, you won't be loved. Because attachment is a survival need, the child will always choose attachment over authenticity. They suppress their gut feelings to stay safe. They lose themselves. This loss of self is the definition of trauma. We often think of trauma as bad things: divorce, abuse, poverty, etc., etc. These things are traumatic events, but the real trauma is what happens inside of you because of these events. When you lose the connection to your body and your emotions, you develop a negative view of yourself. You find it hard to be in the present moment because being in the present moment is just too painful. This is where the process of addiction begins. Whether it is drugs, gambling, shopping, porn, or work, it is the behavior that has an attempt to find relief from that internal pain. It works in the short term, but it has devastating consequences in the long run. We don't give it up, because without it, we're left alone with the trauma of that original disconnection. So, if addiction is disconnection, what is the solution? The word recovery literally means to find something again. When we say a person is in recovery, we shouldn't just be saying they aren't using substances anymore. What we should really mean is that they're finding themselves. They're restoring their connection to the body and their gut feelings they had to give up years ago to stay safe and survive. Healing isn't just about stopping a behavior. It's about reconnecting with the person you were before the pain took over. I work in this field, and I've learned that our job isn't to judge the addiction. Our job is to support the reconnection. Because once a person finds himself again, the addiction no longer has a job to do. My name is Tommy. I love you all. Thank you for coming out here. Have a good evening.